Shalom. Before I begin this video, first and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakodash, which is the true name of the Heavenly Father in the ancient Hebrew, which his name is Yahweh, and also his only begotten Son, which also his name is in the ancient Hebrew, which is Yahweh Shai. And also I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that continually roll very well to this very day, that is continually feeding the flock through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And also shalom to the whole elect that's continually planning its work and giving diligence to make your calling and election sure in all faith, true sincerity, and also in all charity. Now, the topic of this video, I'm going to entitle it as the harsh reality of war. Because you got this holiday, so-called holiday, which is coming up on Monday, which is Memorial Day, in which we already know what Memorial Day is all about. It's for commemorating the soldiers that died in the previous wars, and really, when you take a deeper look into how war unfolds or how it takes place, when you go into the inner workings and the origins of how they happen, really they tie in to an entity that is behind the scenes that you don't really hear about. All right, and that entity are a conglomerate of families which owned the central banks, that own the world's economy and everything that you see. And these are the international banking families, okay, which are known today as the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, Gettysburgs, DuPonts, Oppenheimers. All right, you have these different families that have financed these wars that happen. And here it is, the people don't understand that they're the ones that are financing these wars. They don't understand that really, when these wars take place, they make money off of that, man. All right, different wars that took place, they always made a profit out of the wars that took place at the expense of people's lives. Now I'll let you know how wicked these devils are, man. All right, even though the Lord, contrary to popular belief, the Lord only deals with the nation of Israel. All right, but when you send out somebody that enlists for war, that's so-called defending the country, really they're not defending America. All right, really they're defending the interests of the bankers. All right, it's for their own benefits, for their own interests. All right, they're not fighting for the freedoms of these people, or should I say so-called freedoms of the people. All right, they're really fighting for the bankers. Okay, now you got some veterans that actually come out and tell you that. They'll tell you straight up that the only reason why they went over to different lands and fight is for resources. And that's always what it's been about. It's been about resources. It's been about interests. All right, that's the word that is always thrown around in geopolitics. All right, interests, resources, because that's what it's really all about. It's not about a nation coming up against another nation because of the people, because just to fight for the freedom of one people. No, it's not about that. All right, it's about the resource, in which the main commodity today, or the main resource today that is being fought over, is oil. All right, that's the main resources that's being fought over to this very day. Okay, now I want to go ahead and jump into a few pieces of information that I have here with me, but I have actually two things I want to bring out here, which I pulled as I was searching. And this is a man by the name of Major General Smedley D. Butler. All right, and there was a book that was put together called War's Racket. All right, in which this individual, all right, this Edomite, of course, in which, by the way, the Edomites that's spoken about in the Bible, they are known today as the so-called white man, right? The so-called white race. Their nationality goes back to the nation of Edom. Their progenitor goes back to a man by the name of Esau. Okay. So you have this Edomite general here by the name of Smedley D. Butler, and like I mentioned before, he made a book called War's Racket, and it says it is one of the quotes from that book, or one of the quotes that he made is it is possibly the oldest, easily the most profitable, surely the most vicious, and he's talking about war. Okay, when he said that, he said surely it's the most vicious, but yet is easily the most profitable. Okay, and I'm gonna get into that in a little bit. And it says it is the only one international in scope. It is the only one in which the profits are reckoned in dollars and the losses in lives. A racket is best described, I believe, as something that is not what it seems to be to the majority of people, right? Because the people are thinking what they're being fed in the mainstream media is that the wars are being fought over people's freedoms, but it's not the case. And that's what they believe, all right? It says only a small inside group knows what it's really about, and that inside group is the bankers, which I mentioned earlier, all right? It said it is conducted for the benefit of the very few at the expense of the very many. Out of war, a few people make huge fortunes, and that's a fact, all right? Which, once again, just hang tight. I'm gonna get that in a little bit, all right? Now I got another one, by the same general, right? General Smedley Butler, right? Says our boys were sent off to die with beautiful ideals painted in front of them, right? So if you, and I'll give you a perfect example. That movie that was played, the main character was Tom Cruise, Born on the 4th of July. Now, if you watch that movie, Born on the 4th of July, it shows, the character that's played by Tom Cruise, he had ideals, going off to fight in a war for the sake of America, for the so-called freedom. All right. So when he went there and he fought in that war and came back, he was all messed up in the head. He realized that, those ideas was painted in his head, but when he actually got out there and he started fighting and started getting an understanding of what was really going on, that changed him. All right. That whole ideal was wiped away. All right. And I read on, it says no one told them that dollars and cents were the real reason that we're marching off to kill and die. See? So once again, you got, just like that movie Born on the 4th of July, you got people that actually believe that they're going off to fight, with ideals painted in front of them, this and that, being fed with lies, not knowing they're really fighting for the resources and in the interests of the bankers. All right. Now, I got some more on here that I want to grab. Now, this is what I found on the as I was searching as well, and this is under the House of Rothschilds. And actually, you can Google this and you can research it, and you can find facts on the history behind the Rothschilds, the Rothschild family, which they got his name here is Meyer Amschel Rothschild, but before he was known as Meyer Amschel Rothschild, his last name was Bauer. Okay, which there's a reason why he changed his last name. Okay, because that word Bauer means peasant. Okay, so Meyer Amschel Rothschild was banking dynasty's patriarch, right? And this is the family that you don't even hear about in the news, because they're still here today. All right, but you're not going to hear about them. Why? Because they have control over everything that you see, the resources, the lands, everything, man. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna skim through this a little bit. There's a few points I want to grab. I want to read the whole thing. I'm gonna read this little entry here under the House of Rothschild. It says it was around 100 years later, however, that war financed through private banks was brought to perfection by the Rothschild family. The banking dynasty's patriarch, Mayer Amschel Bauer, or Rothschild, founded the first bank in Frankfurt, Germany in the 1760s, with his sons later expanding the operations to Paris, London, Vienna, and Naples. Okay. Through their banking network, the family made their first fortune during the Napoleonic Wars, right? Which is going to go into the Battle of Waterloo. Okay, this is their first fortune during the Napoleonic Wars by speculating with money from German Prince William of Hesse-Kassel. The Rothschilds were supposed to invest it in British government bonds, but instead used it for trading in war materials. They later returned the money with the interest that would have been earned by putting it in British government bonds, taking the surplus profits and thus violating the fiduciary, I was like butchering that word, duty, in which that's how they made their fortune, by way of interest. All right. If you don't know what interest is, basically when you put a certain price on something, or for instance, when you have a loan, right, and then once you take out that loan and then you try to pay it back, you put in more than what you took out, in which that's interest. It comes in the form of interest. Okay, in which that's known in the Bible as usury. So really, they made their fortune by way of usury. So what they would do is they would take advantage of certain materials and participate in the markets, and then they would sell it back and put interest on it. All right, or put usury, or apply usury to what they possessed. All right. And it was another article, which is not I don't have it with me right now. This is on my smartphone. It's actually on my computer. All right, which goes into Joseph Rothschild, if I'm not mistaken. Joseph Rothschild actually took part, or he took advantage of the war of Waterloo. All right. Now it says the Rothschild was supposed to invest in British government bonds, but instead used it for trading in war materials. They later returned the money with the interest that would have been earned by putting it in British government bonds, taking the surplus profits, thus violating their fiduciary, however you say it, duty. However, the family also helped and profited by smuggling gold through France to Spain to fund the Duke of Wellington's expeditions against Napoleon, and provided loans to the British government directly. All right. Now, he's going to explain more on this, as some historians then claim the Rothschilds were involved in the first big episode of banks financing both sides in a war, when, according to Robert McNair Wilson, the author of Promise to Pay, the banks in London gave Napoleon £5 million to give it a second go at Waterloo. Even though the odds of Napoleon winning were low, historically the defeated nation would have to make good on the debts it owed to international financiers, as happened again with Germany after World War I and World War II. The financiers always win. See? So these wars is being financed, especially during World War I and World War II. The financiers always win. They will always get a profit out of these wars that's being fought. All right? In one way, shape, or fashion. So reading on, it says, whether the Rothschilds crashed the British government bond market after they got news in advance of Wellington's victory at Waterloo in 1815, in order to then buy up the paper on the cheap or whether they just bought it up because of the victory is again disputed. In which actually I read up on that. Actually, Joseph Rothschild did buy the stock or the stocks during that time, and that was during the time when the others that were also involved in the stocks, they didn't know that Wellington won the war, or Waterloo, won the Battle of Waterloo. But Joseph Rothschild had a messenger that was ahead of the messenger, or one of the messengers of Wellington, that got the message back to him before the other messenger got back, and let the other investors in the stocks. And what happened was that once he got word of that, he then started buying up the stocks. And then afterwards, once the message got back to him, but then that's when everything changed. And then he sold back those stocks out for an undisputed price. All right, and then he made a huge profit out of just doing that. And that's how they roll. Okay. Now, reading on, it's like, yeah, I'm at the end of it. It says, most historians agree, however, that the Rothschild family, because of its war dealings, became the wealthiest dynasty in the 19th century. And many estimates still rank it in the top tier of the wealthiest families today. And although other names are more popular in international finance in the 21st century, it is merely a coincidence that the Rothschild own The Economist newspaper always favors war over peaceful solutions, whether it be in Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, or Syria. All right. So that's pretty much it on that. Yeah, and that's The War is Racket book that I mentioned earlier. Which I can read a little bit of this just to get info on that. It says, War is Racket is a speech in a 1935 short book by Smedley D. Butler, a retired United States Marine Corps Major General and two-time Medal of Honor recipient. Based on his career and military experience, Butler frankly discusses how business interests commercially benefit, such as war profiteering from warfare. And that's what I was mentioning earlier about the statements that he made. All right. So the General Smedley D. Butler, he basically spilled the beans. All right. So that's pretty much it on that. Let me go ahead and grab a few precepts. I'm gonna close it on out. It's the book of Obadiah, the first chapter, in the 5th verse. It says, "If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes?" And that's right. So with this devil, all he does is go in and war and take everything that he wants, man. And basically that's why everything that you see right now, he's taking advantage of it. He doesn't leave anything behind. A robber will come in and steal whatever they need. But with Esau, these Edomites, especially these elites, they go in and take everything, plus the dog. All right. Verse 6 says, "How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up?" Now, we have another precept. This is in the book of Jeremiah, the 49th chapter, which it says the same thing. But I'm going to read it. It says, Jeremiah, the 49th chapter, in the 9th verse, it says, "If grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some gleaning grapes? If thieves by night, they will destroy till they had enough." See? So when thieves come by night, they'll destroy until they had enough. All right? But this devil, he's destroyed everything. All right? And he still wants more. He's even getting to the point to where he wants the people now. Okay? And he's going to do that. And that's going to tie right in to the mark of the beast. Revelation 13 chapter and 16 verse. All right? Verse 10, "But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself." See? And now that's why information, which I just read earlier, is coming out against these elites, all right, and these Edomites. So the Lord has made Esau bare, okay, and he's uncovered his secret places. So now when you go into the specifics of war, you're able to go in and see the origins of how it's being conducted. All right. And those are those secret places that are being uncovered, among many things. Okay. It says, "And he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not." See? And that's pretty much it on that. Those are the only two scriptures I want to grab. But actually, I want to grab another one while I'm at it. All right, it's Psalms, the 55th chapter and the 21st verse. And actually, that ties right into which I was showing earlier concerning the statement that was made by that general, Smedley Butler, which says his boys were sent off to die with beautiful ideals painted in front of them, right? But here's the thing, the Psalms 55th chapter and the 21st verse says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. See? Because this devil, he'll come to you peaceably and say, it comes in smooth words, and say sweet things to you, but really war is in his heart, and war has always been within the hearts of these devils, going back to the birth of Esau and his blessing, because Esau was blessed with the sword. There's a reason why Esau was blessed with the sword, because he's gonna use that sword in this time right now. All right. And that also goes into, I'm gonna get in just a little bit, that goes into one of the horse, it's like a red horse. All right. So again, it says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn sword. See? Now I'm gonna go ahead and grab that if I can. Just like you. All right, this book of Revelation, the 6th chapter, and start at 3rd verse. It says, and when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. Right, and ever since this devil's been in rulership, peace has been taken away from the earth. All right. Now the reason why his horse is red, because these devils are red. All right, they're not really white. They're not. That's why we say so-called white man or so-called white people, because you're not white. You're really red, because you don't have any melanin in your skin. Okay. It says, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. See? And that's that same sword that was given unto Esau. All right, that's the same sword that he was blessed with. And he's taking peace away from the earth because of that. All right. So there you have it. You have the origins of war, the reason why it goes down, who actually profits from war. Okay. If I can go back to it. Yeah, so you see who profits from war, man. And that'll be the Rothschild family, among other families as well. All right. They profit from the wars that's being fought. And really it's for their interest, it's for their benefit. All right. So, Lord's willing is edifying to the body of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, which are the names of the Most High and the Son. And also as well, this was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. Until next time, once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, Ba'Shem Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that continually rule very well. Shalom, peace and safety, salutations to the hopeful elect that's plowing his work. Give it diligence to make your calling election sure in faith and in truth, and also in sincerity and in all charity. And with that,